Hello, everyone. It is 6:15 p.m. My name is Thrasi Delis. I'm here with Smokey the Bear, and
Arr.
we are so excited today. The reason why we're so excited is not because of the genocide that's going on. And no, I'm not talking about that genocide. If you
Nope.
don't know what genocide I'm talking about, then you guys better read up. But it's not because
L'chaim.
of that. It's not because of the military occupation of our United States capital.
Jawohl.
And it's definitely not because I've been so disorganized that we're starting a day late. It is Wednesday instead of the usual Tuesday that we're
Yeah.
recording.
Oh.
No, the reason why I'm so excited is because we're reading philosophy. Aren't we, Smokey?
Woo. So philosophy is good.
Damn straight it is. It
Yeah.
is. And speaking of good, another thing that's really good is nostalgia. So why don't you give us a quick recap of the last time that we had covered stuff?
Oh my goodness. You would make a terrible communist. Nostalgia is destroys the proletariat.
That's why
Okay.
communists can't do segues.
Well, that's true too. But then, you know, capitalists, well, it's anyway.
Oops.
We are equal opportunity put down
There's
here. Yeah, we don't care
ah.
if you're a communist or a socialist or a capitalist or a Republican or a Democrat or a sock dim.
If you can read, then you should read along with us, and if you can't read, then you can listen. That's what
Yep.
we say over
And
here.
if you can
All right.
read but you don't read with us, then we got no use for you.
Damn straight. Get the fuck out.
So we were talking about relatives. So we had been talking about, we spent, geez, hours talking about substance, and then we spent a little time talking about the word quantity, and now we're talking about things that are relative.
Mm.
It's very German Einsteinish, the idea. But that this idea of things are relative. And we stopped last week or last time because we were about to introduce a new word that goes with relative, and that's correlative.
Oh, okay.
And that gets a little tricky for some people because it turns out we've done research on this. Some people have a hard time dealing with that thought process of what is a correlate.
Like on its own, or they conflate it with relativity.
Both.
Got it. Okay, let's see how I do.
Yeah. And so what we really want to make sure is that we understand what do we mean by relative? This the and the easiest way is to say they're related.
Mm.
Right? Yeah, my brother, my cousin, my mom, my dad, they're relatives. And so that's kind of what he's talking about when he first starts speaking on in part 7 where he's talking about relative. The word superior is explained by reference to something else. So if I say, Thanasi, or you have a brother called John.
Mm.
If I say John is your brother, well then that's the relative, yes?
Sure.
I can't just say, well, there's John and Thanasi. Well, that's not telling me how they're related.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Sure, yeah. And conversely, if you said that this is John, the brother, then people are, it naturally presumes it's the brother of something or
Right.
someone. Yeah.
And we can even make it more simple. We can say John and Thanasi are walking down the street. So they are relative to the street.
Sure.
And so that the reason why we stopped last week is because we were moving away from that concept of two things being related to each other relative to something else.
Okay.
Now we're going to introduce this idea of correlative. And so thus beginneth the reading. And the weird thing is it's not that crazy a thought, but for some reason it tricks some people up, and so we don't want to do that. It says all relatives have correlatives. By the term slave, we mean the slave of a master. By the term master, the master of a slave. By double, the double of its half. By half, the half of its double. By greater, greater than that which is less. By less, less than that which is greater. And so it is with every other relative term, but the case we use to express the correlative differs in some instances. Thus, by knowledge, we mean knowledge of the knowable. By the knowable, that which is apprehended by knowledge. By perception, perception of the perceptible. By the perceptible, that which is apprehended by the perception. Sometimes, however, reciprocity of correlation does not appear to exist. This comes about when a blunder is made, and that to which the relative is related is not accurately stated.
Mm,
And this goes back to one of our first recordings where we had to explain to someone we're not talking about evolution in the modern era, we're talking about people's perception of reality at this time.
right.
If a man states that a wing is necessarily relative to a bird, the connection between these two will not be reciprocal, for it will not be possible to say that a bird is a bird by reason of its wings. The reason is that the original statement was inaccurate, for the wing is not said to be relative to the bird qua bird, since many creatures besides birds have wings, but qua winged creature. So if I say, did that make sense? I can't say it's a bird because it has wings.
Okay.
The wings, no, all I can say is a winged creature has wings.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
If then, and this is where we get in computer science, if then this statement is made accurate, the connection will be reciprocal, for we can speak of a wing having reference necessarily to a winged creature, and of a winged creature as being such because of its wings.
Okay. So a necessary function for something to be a correlation or in correlation with something else is that the two things together have to be like tautological in nature.
Yes,
Okay.
we're
Okay.
not, and here's where it gets tricky. Have I said anything about causation?
No, no, I've kept that in my head. I'm sure anybody, at least in America, has heard, correlation does not necessarily mean causation.
Oh,
So,
every time I hear someone say that to me, I know an angel has just lost its wings and committed suicide.
oh, interesting. Well, I'm glad
Because, well, you might as well have just said water is wet and the sky is blue.
well, yeah, perhaps, well, hold on a sec. You have to learn that though. So shut up. Everybody has to learn that the sky is blue, not water. So that's it's true.
Bears, get very antsy when people say things that sound very common.
Oh, nice. Well, thanks
We
for
don't
letting
like it.
us know. That's why that's why we always Zoom instead of in person. So I don't end
If
up
if
getting
we
fucked up.
say, well, here's the reason why. If you say correlation does not infer causation,
Sure.
the reason why that becomes so irritable is they're not equivocal statements. It goes back to the first part of categories.
Okay, well, it's one statement. You mean those two terms are not equivocal?
They're not equivocal.
Okay, got it. Okay, yeah.
If they were equivocal, then how many words would we need?
And how many? Wait a second. If they were equivocal, how many words would we need?
Yeah, we've got two words:
Sure.
correlation, causation. If they
Okay.
were equivocal, how many words would we need?
Oh, at minimum three
Nope. One.
for practicality.
Yeah. If it
Well,
if it was equivalent, if it was an equivalent statement,
oh, equivalent.
yes.
You said equivocal.
Oh, I apologize.
Oh, it's okay.
Equivalent.
That makes more sense. You need four.
No, you just need one. You can either use causation or you can use correlation, but you don't need both terms to mean the same thing.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you're
Because you're looking.
probably way off. Yeah, okay. I understand what you're saying now. I'm going to restate it real quick, but I'm going to use a different term. Okay.
Okay.
The univocality of each of those terms would means that they each need to be used in their own sentence.
Yes.
Okay, I understand. All right.
So to combine them in the same sentence would be like saying water is blue or the
Well, yeah, it's
sky is
basically
blue.
it's like to use the terms in this from this paper. It's like saying it's like if I were to just restate as though it's a new claim that
Yes,
equivocal like equivocality and univocality are not the same thing.
they're not.
Oh, shit, we read that literally in the first paragraph. Like
Yes.
we've moved on. I get what you're saying.
So
Yeah.
if you say correlation does not infer causation, you might as well have said the sky is blue.
Yeah, these two words mean two different things. I get what you're saying.
Well, why? Why did you say it? It doesn't make any sense.
Because I was saying that anytime anybody sees correlation, they immediately, the first word that comes into their mind after that is causality. Like if you did word association and you said, and I said, I'm going to say a word, what's the next word that you think of? And I say correlation, I promise you 99.9% of people are going to say causality
Well, I would say
because of that phrase.
association.
That term is so embedded in people's minds from like, education and just different teachers and stuff. Because without because before we learn to name things, we see things first and we perceive correlation and we mistake it for causality all the time, which is why people thought comments meant God, whatever,
Well,
bullshit. So that's what I was saying. But at the same time, I understand why that would trigger you.
it is a difficult lesson to learn. I will
I'm
not
enjoying
deny
beer at the
that.
moment, by the way. Hmm.
Um, we will go ahead and stop there.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Cool. Okay.
Would you like to see a couple of little
Before,
slides?
can we just at least just for redundancy's sake, just to make absolute
Certainly.
qua?
Qua.
What the fuck? I'm assuming it's Latin.
Well, I don't know. You tell me.
You want me to look it up?
Of course, I want you to look it up. I'm not
All
going
right.
to look it up.
All right. All right. All right. All right. All right.
Why should I tell you what I know when you are perfectly capable of learning without me?
Okay, buddy. Because you're screen sharing, so people can watch as it happens. But that's fine. I'll do it. You guys can either look it
See,
up
this is the
yourselves.
problem when you're working with this kind of talent. I'm telling you, they lose their mind. Oh.
Okay, so I think you think that you're talking about yourself, but you're also talking to yourself about me, which means you're losing your mind, which
I,
means I'm the talent.
I'm
So,
running low on honey.
that's what she said.
Ah!
Uh, qua, in the capacity of as being. Um, in the capacity of as. Okay, hold on a sec.
Ask for an
Um,
example of its use in a sentence.
well, I was about to say this. We have a sentence. The reason is that the original statement was inaccurate, for the wing is not said to be relative to the bird, and the capacity of that a bird is a bird. That's basically what he's saying.
Yes.
And since many creatures besides birds have wings, but a winged creature, but qua winged creature. Since many creatures besides birds have wings.
For the wing is not said to be relative to the bird qua bird, but qua winged creature. Take out the little statement in between.
Oh, for the wing is not said to be relative to the bird for as a bird is to be a bird, but as a winged creature is to be a winged creature.
Yes.
Got it.
And we're back to water is wet, the sky is blue.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And this would be the relation correlation versus causation. Okay.
Yep.
But of
You're
course,
not
we haven't introduced causality in here yet, so
right.
yeah.
You are not a winged creature because you have you're not a winged creature because you're a bird, and you're not a bird because you have a wing.
No, yeah, for sure, yeah, because if you look at things strictly categorically, then your ability to perceive causality through you if you look at things strictly through categorically, then you kind of have to like remove causality out of anything
At
and then
this point,
look at
yes.
everything correlatively. And then And when you're ready to introduce causality, then you start organizing things in a hierarchy based off of what's causal of what.
But he's still using hierarchies here. Don't get me wrong, but he's very careful in his use of hierarchies. Because
Well,
remember,
he has to because he already introduced hierarchies beforehand.
yes,
Okay.
and he's trying to stay out of the metaphysics. While at the same time, you cannot completely remove yourself from it.
Right, because like a thing to be a thing. Well, tautology is a metaphysics.
Yes,
Yeah, the like do tautology is a metaphysical thing as much as ontology is. So yeah, okay. Yeah.
but he's
I'm
trying to, in creating categories, he's trying to remain in the physical world as much as possible. And he's saying, and really, and like I say, and I've said it in the past, I will say it in the future. Let me say it now.
Mhm.
He's laying out a method of seeing the world. You don't
Right.
have to agree with it.
It just has to make sense to make sure that you know that you
Yes.
understand what he's reading. Yeah. It's a helpful. Okay, so real quick for viewers, tautology, just to just as I'm just throwing that word around. That's like a philosophical term, and it's this I'm looking at two different I'm trying to find the right definition here because to help walk you guys through us. I don't really like this definition. This is a frustrating one. That's
Well, it's probably the metaphysical definition that talks about, is it the one that talks about form and function?
no, there's the form and function, but even that doesn't get introduce function, just introduce like or by virtue, by necessity or form. And it doesn't even talk about function. And then there's this other one, this a phrase and expression in which the same thing is said twice in different words, which is just like redundancy. The idea of tautology, guys, is basically that this is my explaining of it, but tautology is where you find that the causality leads actually back to itself. It's kind of like the snake eating itself, but it's a circular logic. And what we find is that a paradox in a lot of the reality that we perceive is that a lot of things are actually super circular, where it's like this is because of this thing, which is because of this thing, which is because of the first thing.
Right.
And it's what the hell? And then it gives this sense of like endlessness and like you can go into all sorts of directions of like existentialism, and that's why it's all embedded in like metaphysics. But we'll also find that anytime that we really try to find true categories, we run into like tautological, basically like glass ceilings pretty often. So
Yep.
the correlation, what we're finding here is that things can be relative to one another, but they don't have to be tautological. The causalities can be because of two different things or whatever. But for things to truly be correlated, they have to be part of some sort of tautology that maybe has maybe has like more things involved in it. But at the very end of the day, these two things do circle back to themselves if you make either of them a starting point causally.
Yep.
So that's what we're talking about here.
Oh, you're getting into the 19th century.
Yeah, I'm doing my best to try to, even that seemed a little convoluted, but that's the best I could find. But yeah, if you Google it, the Google definition's kind of dog shit. Don't trust that. But yeah, let's continue.
Google doesn't have all the answers to the world?
Dude, AI is supposed to be Mark's lied to us, bro. It's fucking bullshit. Whatever.
Who's Mark?
Mark's
Marx?
Carl.
Carl?
What are we doing right now? I was referring to Karl Marx talking about how, the missing parts of humanity to
Well, you also,
yeah,
here's the thing, and I am no great defender of modern political theory.
sure.
The biggest mistake people make, in my opinion, when reading Karl Marx is they don't put themselves in the mindset of a person who's writing during the Industrial Revolution.
Sure. And a poor person in the Industrial Revolution. He was like in poverty.
Well, yes, it sort of depends on who you ask. It's kind of like Jesus being born in a manger.
Okay,
He
that's
had
fair.
good PR. Um,
That's fair.
Carl had good PR. Um, but the reality is, if if you think about when he was writing and what he was writing about, it'd be no different than someone writing about the value of AI today and its impact on society. And so really what Carl, in my opinion, was getting to was as we reduce the amount of people that are needed to do a job that yesterday took 100 people, but today only takes one or two, what are these other people going to be doing with their life?
Sure. No, I was talking about his relationship with religion and how there's certain facets of humanity that
Same,
we're
same,
trying
yeah.
to extricate, and it's very fitting that AI already is
Well,
extricated in those facets, so it should have all the answers for us because it's not distracted by things like belief.
what is a televangelist if not a person who is taking the place of a dozen preachers at 12 smaller congregations, but now they all meet on television?
Yeah,
And I haven't paid attention to popular culture, but pick a really famous person in popular culture.
okay.
Okay, that person, because of technology, can now reach 100-fold more people than they could have 15, 20 years ago. Now imagine going back 100 years.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, we can actually go back and forth on this.
So when you read Karl Marx, always remember you're reading somebody who was writing something at a time, thinking about things about his time.
Yeah.
And although I may disagree with him, he was thinking and he wrote it down, which is more than I can say for most people.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've told you this before. I mean, I've read freaking Das Kapital,
Sure.
and then his like larger work I haven't really gotten all the way through yet, but I've gotten like a little over a third through it. And his descriptions are really, I think, are like super accurate, like almost prophetic in some ways. But his prescriptions are just the parts of dog shit.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
just keeps like prescribing fentanyl like, for every problem. And it's like, dude, you're just gonna kill everybody.
Well,
But
and the reality is, his understanding of history is rather limited, and it's almost like he'd never heard of Diocletian. And there's a lot of,
right,
and we all have a narrow vision, no
sure.
matter how wide our vision, we believe our vision to be. And if we can get back to what we're talking about here,
I was about to segue that into relativity. You know,
yeah, it's
that's
relative.
yeah. Because relativity, like we all have a narrow vision, and that's relative to how far a distance there is to be seen,
Yeah.
right?
And
Yeah.
your experience, stop and think about your experiences and what you believed when you were 10 versus when you were 15 versus when you were 20. And think about all the experiences you had between the ages of 10 and 15 and 15 and 20 that helped relatively expand your perception of reality.
Mm.
You know, the you don't know who wants to go through life in a bubble.
Fortunately, too many people,
Well,
but not us.
but you want to get out there and you want to skin your knee. You want to have those stories to tell.
Right.
You
Yeah.
don't want to be a 60-year-old person with no stories to tell.
Sure. And then a natural effect of that, almost like a side effect for a lot of people, is that their vision kind of expands. They have better periphery
Yes.
understanding of what it is that's going on around them.
I
Yeah.
well, I was talking to someone the other day and I was talking about how when I was 33, I drove from Canada all the way almost to Central America.
Mm,
That's a memory
right.
most people don't have, and it shapes my thought process. Um,
Like
you
how dog shit the Midwest is.
uh no comment.
Everybody loves Nebraska, bro. All right, let me see these. Let me see these models. I want to see
Just a
what's.
couple of slides. Just a couple of slides.
Yeah.
So we are section 2, part 7b, relative. And he starts off by saying, slave is to master as master is to slave. So we've got an
Mhm.
arrow going back and forth. Double is to half as half is to double.
Ugh.
They're correlates. Yes?
Yep.
But what if we make a blunder?
Okay.
If we say wing is to bird as bird is to wing, no,
Right.
because that arrow can't be going in both directions. It's actually going in one direction.
Right.
One of the things that I talk to graduate students about all the time is arrows in models. If the arrows goes back and forth, that's correlative. If the arrow is going in only one direction,
It's relative.
that's causality. You're
Oh,
saying
yeah.
A causes B.
Yes. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
And the reality is this: in most conceptual models, we try to stay away from theory, we try to stay away from causality.
Sure.
We theorize causality. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because you don't have any proof of concept.
You don't have any proof of concept. So what all I can really do is conceptualize and say, well, wing and bird. But as soon as I put arrows going in both directions, I have made a false correlation
Right.
because other creatures can have wings. Now, what if I changed it from wing to feathered wing?
Um, I mean, it's closer, but I don't know. Because we're going to go back into the whole penguin thing, and
Well, I didn't make this into a slide because I wanted to challenge you to think about it. Can you imagine the word wing and then underneath it, within the concept of wing, there's different types of wings, and one of those types would be a feathered wing.
sure.
And can you imagine a category called winged creatures? And under that, there's different types of winged creatures that we can categorize. And one of those categories would be bird.
Okay.
Now, the question is, can I go directly from winged feather to bird? Or do I go winged feather to feather over to winged creature and down to bird?
I would say the latter.
Why?
Um, because because not all birds have feathered wings. So in order to show like the connection, there's like degrees of separation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what we're going to be talking about in the next couple of little bits is these
Mm,
gradients, these ideas of how do we get from, see, most of us want to go, well, the shortest distance between any 2 points is
to be
well, what's the shortest distance between any 2 points?
between any 2 point. Oh, a straight line.
Straight
Sorry.
line.
Yeah.
But a straight line isn't always correct.
Sure. Yeah. There's like there's like a topography. There's a to
Oh, very good. We're even going to
yeah.
introduce terminologies like polyhedral, combinatorics.
God damn it. Okay. All right.
Okay. It was a good talk. Couple of
This
chapters.
is very good. Yeah, guys, if it felt a little anticlimactic, that's just because I'm getting a little introspective here because I'm thinking about just this relationship between relativity and correlation. I think I get it. I think me pre having like a pre idea specifically of tautology kind of primed me for this.
Sure.
So if anybody has a little trouble with this because that was a through line that I had, and if they don't have that through line, then maybe there's we need to flesh it out a little bit more. Leave a comment, let us know, and we'll be happy to go into a little bit more detail or attack it maybe from a different angle. The more that I think about this, the more connections I can make, and then I can articulate it probably like in 30 different ways by next week. So just hit us up, let us know. But thank you so much. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you guys next Thursday. See you, Smokey.
Goodbye.
Oh my God.
What? Oh, am I supposed to hit the stop recording now?
When I say see you, Smokey, that's when you stop recording. But now
Ah,
you're doing
see.
a bit. Now I know what you're doing.